Yeah, I came to do a job and I succeeded, and I was very happy.
Anything else as it really began to sink in later in the day, what had actually happened, what you had done?
Well, I knew I surprised a lot of people. I know a lot of people were surprised at the fact that I not only beat him, I knocked him out. It was a thrilling moment for me in the camp, my family. It was hard work.
As you look back at yourself then, what was the major difference in Buster Douglas that afternoon in Tokyo and the Buster Douglas that had entered the ring the 32, 33 times before that?
Well, it was a difference in, you know, the way things had all came about. I think the major difference was back in July 20th, 1989, my total acceptance of the Lord Jesus Christ. I think that was the biggest impact that had totally brought everything together. It was always something that was missing. It was a missing link. And I was never for sure exactly, you know, what it was. I thought it was, you know, physical, mental. It made it seem as though the things that were bothering me most, that I seemed to have been mountains, were just molehills. And through that experience, I was able to see things for what they really were and put it all together.
You told me before the fight that once you'd made that acceptance of the Lord Jesus Christ into your life, that the devil would really come hard after you. And you must have felt like that same thing was happening right after the fight, because you had lawsuits from this guy, counter lawsuits, King, and court. You were in limbo for a little while. How did that make you feel, having all that litigation?
Through it all, it just exposed certain parties involved of just how they really are, you know, with all the allegations and things that had went on leading up to the court case.
Coming up to this fight, Evander, here's a guy that's, some people call him a bulked up light heavyweight, but he's always in shape. And here you are, reports say you got up to 260, 265, and you got to get down. Does it ever worry you in any way that you wouldn't be in the peak shape by fight time?
You know, I always have a worry, you know, that I wouldn't be ready to fight in any fight. But, you know, I kind of got a kick out of it in a sense as my weight went down. Because of the fact that, you know, I was noticing how they were paying more attention to me. But, you know, naturally, you know, being a heavyweight champion, they're going to want to know exactly the whereabouts and what you were doing. But, yeah, I worry about each and every fight. You know, it's a natural thing. It what keeps me on edge. It keeps the intensity going.
Describe in as detailed a way as possible why, above all else, you will beat Evander Holyfield come Thursday night, October 25th.
I think our skills are far better. You know, I'm just a better man. I'm a true heavyweight, you know, and I will come to fight. And I'm the champion now, and it's going to have to take a tremendous beating to obtain this title.
You talked about maybe having 2 more fights after you beat Tyson. Is that still the plan? Are you going to have this one and another one and then get out of this?
No, I think I'm going to be around for a while. I enjoy being heavyweight champion, and I think I have the ability to maintain it.
Want to remind you, we're going to be live throughout the week, 7 at 11:30 Eastern Time on SportsCenter. Tomorrow night on the 11:30 show, Evander Holyfield joins us live. Tuesday night, James Buster Douglas joins us live. On the 7 o'clock show Wednesday night, we will have the weigh-in live. Ray Leonard joins our commentary team at that time. And, of course, on Thursday night, immediately after the fight, instant analysis, highlights, and interviews.
Run at 2 o'clock in the morning. There's not a soul outside. Or maybe in Vegas, there are a few souls, I suppose.
You know, at that time, it is comfortable, but once you start working, when you know that you're tired, and you know that you put in a good 3 hard hours early, and then you have to go back and do it again, and you're eating 1 time a day. It's a lot of pressure, and you feel that you're fighting against yourself.
Big fights in your career. Holyfield, Qawi, the 12th fight professionally for you. This was a war within the ring, a war within the war. It reminded some people of Hagler and Hearns. For you too?
Well, yes, it was a very difficult fight in my lifetime, at 12 fight, and it's a fight that showed determination something that I really wanted. And most of all, something that brought me closer to the Lord, because I had to pray throughout the whole fight just to make it through.
And you, of course, had to go to the hospital because you were so dehydrated, right?
Well, it was a 15-round fight. I lost 15 pounds.
Wow.
And I did win the decision. And, you know, I thank God just for me just making the 15th round.
Was Dokes your biggest victory? Do you think it taught you something that maybe you didn't know about yourself as a heavyweight?
Well, yeah, as a heavyweight, it did. Because, you know, everybody was kind of suspect what happened when I fought a bigger guy. And to fight a guy with such, you know, that class, he's a fast-handed fighter, good experience, former heavyweight champion of the world, and a guy that has been down with trying to fight his way back to the top. And it showed right then and there that here's these two guys equally talented, and the guy that's going to win is the guy that's going to have to reach deep down inside and bring it out. And I was able to do so.
You've also been able to establish yourself as a pretty big money fighter, $8 million, although the champion's getting $24 million. If you win this fight, there'll be all kinds of riches. You'll be a multi-millionaire. You'll probably earn $60 million in the next couple of years. There are people who say, though, that it's not so much winning the title, Evander, as it is holding the championship. That the championship consumed people like Mike Tyson, maybe even Buster Douglas. How will you not let it consume you if you win?
Well, because I feel that it's not the championship that won me. I won the championship. And I feel that life still goes on. I'm still an individual. I'm a person, just like anybody else, just happen to be the best at what I do.
What's it going to be like fight night? Can you take me through the moments? I know it's tough to project what you'll feel like. I know you're feeling a little bit of butterflies, maybe not out of fear, but just because of anticipation. Take me through what it's like walking up to the ring.
Well, actually, I always go through my original routine. I have to pray first just to be able to get down to the locker room. Once I said that prayer, then I'm very confident from that point on. But once I hit the locker room and it's like 2 hours before the fight and I'm warming up and I go into this trance where I can't sit down. I'm just, instead of moving, it's like you're working out an hour before the fight even starts. You know, what kind of energy you're going to use. But, you know, once the song come on and I start walking out.
What's your song, by the way? What's your theme?
That's Why We Pray.
That's Why We Pray.
And we have to pray to make it today. And as I walk to the ring, and chill bumps come over me and people hollering, and I'm focused and I'm in a trance. The only thing I want to do is get out there and do my job, get the job done. And I'm looking at this individual. It's like, I got to go through you.
He's the one that's between you and the title. A couple of other points before we go. Will you fight Foreman no matter what, as been speculated, or will you have to fight Tyson if you win this championship?
Actually, I'd rather not even say, because I'm just focused on one person, and that's Buster Douglas.
You don't want to look ahead?
I don't want to look ahead, but I know that I will fight either one if it comes down to it.
And lastly, and I think this may be as significant as anything else, to be a good champion, assuming you win, how are you going to ensure the fact that you'll be a good champion, that you'll be the kind of champion you want to be?
Well, I'm not sure, because of what my hopes are always in the Lord Jesus Christ, and I pray that I can just be a better individual as day by day.
Well, you'll have a little post-birthday present if you come back with the victory. I'm sure you're feeling that it's going to happen for you Thursday night, just a little less than a week after your 28th birthday. Wish you the best luck, Evander.
Oh, thank you.
Take care of yourself.
Okay.
We'll come back with more on Sports. James Buster Douglas, for only the 12th time in boxing history, is the heavyweight champion going into the fight, defending his title as an underdog. How does that sit with you?
Well, it doesn't have any bearing on the outlook on the fight. You know, I feel very confident, and you know, I feel good about this fight, and you know, just looking forward to going in there and showing my wares.
But do you think that that expresses in some way the public's lack of respect, or maybe the fact that they just don't buy it all, that maybe they thought of you as the one-shot fighter?
No, I think it's just a thing of it's the competitiveness of the fight. You know, for once you got a championship fight that's you know, considered in some aspects of it evenly matched fight, and maybe for overall it's a fight to where, you know, the challenger is really considered to be able to win the title.
Some controversy on our program about 2 weeks ago. One of the people who's calling the fight, Ferdy Pacheco, described 3 reasons why he thought you would be fighting a very uphill battle Thursday night. We're going to listen to that soundbite now, and we'll talk about it. This is Freddie Pacheco from our show a couple of weeks back.
One was never bet on an overweight fighter against a fighter that's at weight. Case closed there.
Yeah.
Never bet on a fighter who hasn't been fighting over a fighter that's fighting regularly. Case closed there. And the third is probably the most simplistic and seems idiotic, but it's very intelligent. And that is, never bet on a loser over a winner. Seems simple, but when you stop to think about it, what does it mean? It means when a fighter learns how to lose, learns how to abdicate, learns how to say, I don't need any more of this pain, I think I'm going to quit. It's hard to bet on that guy over a guy who's highly competitive and refuses to admit defeat like Holyfield.
All right, let's break those down one at a time. The first one, that you have had a problem with weight, and any fighter with a weight problem is not a fighter you can trust.
Okay, so what am I supposed to say about that?
Well,
my feelings about that.
Yeah.
Well, for one, you got a guy that's a fight doctor, not a fighter, and doesn't know the situation, doesn't really actually know the combat inside the ring. That's it for that.
You leave
one.
it at that.
Leave
Okay.
it at that.
How about the inactivity? The fact that you just haven't been active enough as a champion, active even in the gym enough.
And it's a thing that being blessed with natural ability to where, you know, you can prepare yourself with gym fights, training hard, you know, 3 months outside of a fight to prepare for a fight. And then you have your God-given ability that will kick in. And, you know, it doesn't take as long for a man such as myself to really get sharp. So it depends on the fighter. You can't just classify all fighters like that.
I think the criticism that probably would hit hardest is that you learn to lose, and as such, you're a loser. Maybe he's not making a personal assessment, but that the fact that once upon a time, if a guy has quit in the ring, he's effectively proven that he can't lose.
That's not even the case. I've never quit in the ring. I never quit in the ring, and I know, and I'm not a loser. You know, I have over 34 fights, and I've only got 4 losses. How can that be a loser? You know, I've always been an underdog, but it hasn't stopped me from becoming the heavyweight champion of the world. So I think the entire statement in itself is preposterous.
Was it playing possum, James, when you said several weeks ago that you actually feared Holyfield, that you were afraid of this fight, that you didn't think you were ready or in any kind of shape? Because you did say that, did you not?
Right. And I do feel that way because Evander is a guy that was always looked upon to be in the position that he's in. He was a champion in the cruiserweight division. You know, he's come up to the heavyweight divisions fairly well. You know, he's handled himself in extremely, you know, confidence and handled himself. And then you got you know, a guy that was always looked upon to do well. Then, you know, he's always had it on the uphill. You know, so the pendulum has always swung in his behalf.
Is the fear still there, though? Do you really still feel fear?
Well, yeah, it's a thing of you know, fear and respect. You know, I know he's a tough fighter, you know, and it's going to be a big challenge for me. You know, but I'm always one that's going for, you know, the biggest challenges that I can find in life.
You said at the press conference several months back that you got angry at him. I will make Holyfield quit. Still believe you'll make him quit in the ring?
Well, I'm going in to give it all I got. You know, and everything goes well, there's a possibility that he might turn tail.
What concerns you more, the weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, or the weight, W-A-I-T?
Neither. You know, the weight itself, the weight is a thing of, you know, I've learned to deal with. But as far as the weight, I'm slim, I'm trim, and I'm ready. So I have no concerns with that.
James Buster Douglas, our guest on Sports. We'll come back with some more. From the Mirage in Las Vegas, last Thursday night, the World Heavyweight Boxing Championship. Evander Holyfield and James Buster Douglas. James Douglas, our guest on Sports. This is the corniest of questions, but it was asked of you at the press conference today. Has success spoiled you? Have you changed with your notoriety and fame? They said, this is the way they worded it, you were such a nice guy 6 months ago. Now you've added people to your entourage. Reportedly, you've fired people. Are you the same guy you once were?
Yes, very much so. I'm the same guy. I'm a more determined guy. If anything has changed, it's more determination because of the fact that, you know, I'm still considered the underdog. I don't feel that, you know, I have the total respect of the public as far as being a champion, and coming back and fighting a guy such as Evander Holyfield and defeating him, I think it would change in a way.
What have you learned being heavyweight champion in terms of how it can consume you, how the demands of people, the public, the eye?
Even more discipline.
Yeah.
I think it's become even more discipline. I think of, you know, just respecting the position that you've been blessed with, that I've been blessed with.
You like being champion now. I
I
mean,
enjoy it
maybe
very
at
much.
first it was just getting there. Now you kind of enjoy it. You might want to
Yes.
stick around a little longer.
Exactly. I enjoy being a heavyweight champion. It's something that, you know, I respect tremendously. And it's a good feeling.
Let's talk about respect for a few moments, pointedly. There are some people who say you haven't respected people who have been very good to you. John Johnson has been demoted. Was that a statement of lack of respect for all the things he's done for you, or were there other things we're not reading into it?
Yeah, that's not a thing of John being demoted. John is manager. He still negotiates my contract. He still has the same position he's had before. You know, I don't know where all that came about, you know, about him being demoted.
Does he have the power he once did?
Yes, he's well respected in the organization. You know, hasn't really anything changed as far as John and I. You know, I just wish he was here to where he could, you know, agree with me under the gun.
Big piece in Sports Illustrated last week. Pretty powerful piece by Gary Smith, which more or less suggests, I don't know if you had a chance to read it, that it was the relationship with your father that made you and almost broke you as an athlete. That in a certain sense, there's even an illustration. Your knocking out of Mike Tyson was in effect knocking out your dad in terms of self-assertiveness in making yourself become a man. What's your reaction to that?
Well, it was a thing of, you know, going out and doing it on my own. You know, showing that, you know, just how determined I was to be successful. Be it, you know, one way or another, that I was going to get it. You know, I was going to be, you know, whatever changes had to be made, that I was willing to accept them and make the changes and go for it.
But couldn't you do that with your father in the picture? Your father is back, apparently, in the picture, even though he's been fired 3 different times by you.
Well, he hasn't been fired 3 different times with me. He's only been fired. Well, he hasn't been fired. His position had been terminated.
Okay, but still,
Okay.
It's your dad.
It's
your
my dad.
Your own father.
Yeah.
That might seem a little unusual for some people.
Yeah, but, you know, sometimes things happen, you know, and it was one of those things that I felt that needed to be, you know, done to help me, you know, because of the tension that was being, you know, caused. You know, it was a lot of conflict and, you know, opinions, and people weren't feeling at ease, and most of all, I wasn't feeling at ease.
Do you think that he would actually have testified against you in court in the Don King proceedings? Was that one of the reasons you chose not to go to court and settle out of court?
No, I had no bearing on it at all. You know, and we had talked several times throughout the, you know, the hearing, and he was just there as basically as a, you know, I think he was being used as a pawn, you know, for the other team to make it seem like, you know, but he was just for overseeing how things were going. You know?
You forgive your dad for whatever problems that you've had? Because apparently he's back in your corner. We'll be there Thursday night.
Well,
Does
he
your
won't be
dad
working.
forgive you?
He won't be, he'll be in my corner, but
Yeah,
he won't be.
not literally,
Right.
but I mean, he's
Yeah.
back on the Douglas team.
Right.
That sits well with you. Obviously, everything apparently is okay now.
Right. It's something that, you know, it was a thing to go out and prove that, you know, I can do this thing, but I was going to do it my way, you know. And I'm honored to be able to share this opportunity with my father, you know, being heavyweight champion and sharing the spotlight.
Do you think you've become a better person for this?
Yes, definitely. And that was one of my reasons. That's the way I've been raised, you know, to be the best man that I can be, you know, in whatever I so choose to do. It was something that was instilled for me in my childhood.
From here, apparently, it's Tyson. Is that okay with you?
That's fine.
You feel that he's the kind of fighter that's almost tailor-made for somebody of your skills?
He's a tough competitor as well. He's tough. another big obstacle, challenge. You know, the heavyweight division is it's blossoming with a lot of talent. You know, so you know, each and any given night, man, anything can happen.
We wish you the very best of luck Thursday night, James.
Thank you.
Thanks again. Best of luck to you, and continued success no matter what happens.
Thank you.
In this century to lose in his first defense, earns $24 million. We had the slide rule out. $55,000 a second by missing with his own right and walking right into a right uppercut from Evander Holyfield.
And walking away from big paydays in the future.
Yeah.
Evander Holyfield clearly ready for this fight. Buster Douglas.
Bob Lee, L-E-E, the president of the IBF, announced that as the heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield will have 1 year in which to fight a mandatory fight, which means, as far as the IBF is concerned, Evander Holyfield is free and clear to fight George Foreman, and that will no doubt happen sometime in April. The WBA and the WBC, apparently, at least for the moment, are still sticking by their guns that Holyfield would have to fight within 120 days of the mandatory. But, of course, in this game, everything is subject to change. Sugar Ray Leonard, of course, has been with us throughout the evening. Al Bernstein is joining us now. And I guess, Al, we'll start with you. The face of the heavyweight division has changed dramatically now that the Duvas are running the roost.
Boy, has it ever. And they asked Dan Duva, they said, who is he going to fight next? And he said, George Foreman. Who's going to have it? He said, whoever puts up the most money. Boy, is he calling the shots now. And, of course, there are a couple of sad people tonight. Mike Tyson is sad. Don King is sad. George Foreman's happy.
And Steve Wynn is sad. Of course, he had bankrolled James Buster Douglas. He had visions of sugar plums, large ones dancing in his head, figuring that Douglas and Tyson would have their celebrated rematch here, but those plans went right out the window.
Yeah, he bet on the wrong horse, and I'll tell you what, he bet on a horse that didn't come to run. He bet on a horse that didn't train for this fight, and he bet on a horse that didn't take this seriously because probably he's got $20 million in his pocket. And those may be bold and uncharitable statements, but I think they're true.
George Foreman standing by in Houston, feeling real good about life its own self at the moment. George, I guess you're happy to hear that Bob Lee,
Hold the hamburgers, darling. What was that?
I was going to say Bob Lee of the IBF is giving you the okay to fight Evander Holyfield in the spring, so I guess you feel real good now.
Yeah, that's right. The contract that Evander Holyfield and me signed, it says that one of the governing bodies, the IBF, ABC, DFG, one had to recognize us. And that was enough right now to make sure I'm assured of a championship fight in April. I'm going to be heavyweight champ for the world and taking Social Security checks at the same time.
George, Ray again. What strategy would you use against Evander Holyfield?
Once more, please.
What strategy would you use against Evander Holyfield? How would you fight him?
Well, I like your analogy a little earlier, Ray Leonard, because you said that Douglas, a big man, didn't even get in there and fight. He started being a boxer. With Holyfield, all you had to do is jump on him, set a pace, get in between the void, just keep pitching, keep punching, let him push, do whatever he wants to me, just like a tank. Shoot everything you want, but when you're through, I've got you.
Would you try to out-jab him?
There's no doubt in my mind that I have the better jab. I would invite him to jab and take his jab away from him. I knew that Buster Douglas didn't have a good jab. Mike Tyson out-jabbed him in the first few rounds. Evander Holyfield is very surprised. He may not say that he knocked the guy out so easily, only because the guy tried to throw an uppercut with a fleeing fighter. Uppercut is only effective when a guy is coming to you. Douglas shouldn't be dejected at all. He just fought the wrong kind of fight, that's all.
Did you get a sense that Douglas was simply not in shape for this fight, George, as you watched it?
Not at all. He just couldn't get out. The other guy at 208, he was moving on his feet almost like Sugar Ray Leonard does. Perpetual motion. I mean, steadily, no standing still. He thought he was standing there like Tyson did, and he was wrong. I'm going to study films of Sugar Ray Leonard, and I'm going to have some footwork, but it's mostly going to be going forward. I'm going to eat cheeseburgers before the fight and celebrate with cheeseburgers afterwards.
George, so basically your strategy in fighting Evander Holyfield, you would put your weight to work where Douglas did not. You'd be leaning on him and making him expend a lot of energy, yes?
Yeah, Buster Douglas weighed 247, and he started to act like he weighed 157. Started boxing and jabbing. What did he need all of that for? if you big, go get the man. Go get him. And you can't, it'll be like me trying to outbox Sugar Ray Leonard. I just can't do it. But what I can do is come. And if a guy's in shape enough to keep me off of him at 208, pity the fool who tries that.
Well, it's time to start loading up on them hamburgers and malted milks. What kind of weight do you expect to be in?
I'm trying to keep my wife away right now with the food, but I'm telling you, I'm going to celebrate tonight. I'm going to celebrate tomorrow. I wish I could be in Las Vegas to see Bill Kaplan, to set up a press conference to show the whole world that the 40-year-old guys are going to take over the planet.
Well, I want you to know I had dinner with Bill Kaplan last night. He speaks highly of you as usual, and I'm sure he's going to go out for dinner tonight and celebrate as you will too.
I'm telling you, people outside my door screaming 4 months, 4 months. So when I win this thing, it's not only for George Foreman, it's going to be for all the people. And I didn't make my decision to be a champion of the world at 40. I started at 16 when I stopped smoking and drinking. And now I got all these big old muscles. I don't know if the camera can get this. I'm really a big old guy. I'm round. I'm big and round because I put a lot of food in there.
George, now don't go away as we continue our live coverage here from the Mirage. Evander Holyfield will be coming over here. We're going to give you an opportunity to talk to him a little bit later on. I'm sure you got plenty to say. In the meantime, we will continue our live coverage from the Mirage on ESPN.
Holyfield, but he is truly a fitting champion.
I tell you what, there were two big noises yesterday in Las Vegas. One was the boing when Buster stepped on the scale. The other was the thunder of foot steps down the hallway as folks ran to sports books to put more money down on Evander Holyfield. It was a third-round knockout tonight. Let's check in again live with Charlie Steiner in Las Vegas. Charles?
Well, Bob, as we look back on this event, perhaps a moment of truth took place yesterday afternoon when Buster Douglas literally tipped the scales at 246 pounds. But that's not to take away anything from the performance of the new heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. Wally Matthews, just a couple of minutes ago, had a chance to talk with the co-trainer of Evander, Lou Duva. Wally?
Thank you, Charlie. I'm here with Lou Duva, the co-trainer of Evander Holyfield. Louis, one thing I noticed right after Evander knocked out Douglas, you pointed up to the sky and you were saying something. What was that all about?
That was for you, Rocky Marciano. I owe him one because him and I were always looking for heavyweight, and I says one day I'm going to get a heavyweight champ after he got killed, and I says, and when I do, I'm dedicating it right to Rocky Marciano. Right. That's who this is for.
Speaking of Marciano, we had a man in there tonight who was supposedly too small to be able to knock out heavyweights. Were you, in all honesty, surprised that your little guy here was able to knock out Douglas with one shot?
No, I never was surprised. I told you before, you guys don't listen, understand? I told you that this guy here is strong, physically, strong mentally. His program he's done, he's going to start a new trend in boxing. This kid knows what he's doing, but above all, his biggest attribute is his mental strength. He's got confidence in his corner, confident in people that got around him. He's got confidence in God, and tonight, with that right hand, God come through, baby.
Now, were you surprised by the kind of fight that Douglas fought? He seemed very hesitant all the way through the fight.
No, I wasn't surprised. What we did is we stepped up the tempo. That's what we were going to do. We weren't going to make him get set. We're going to touch him, Wally. We were going to make sure that we had him going into a defense, going into defensive posture. I mean, we wanted him to start fighting. When he started fighting, we were going to go right into him. But I had to hustle him. That's why you heard me holler, make him run, make him run, make him run. We wanted to hustle him, and keep turning him. That's what we wanted to do.
All right, a very excited Lou Duva here today. Back to Charlie.
All right, Wally, joining us now is the heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. How's it sound?
Sound good.
How's it feel?
Feel good.
Were you surprised at all at the slow start or no start at all of Buster Douglas tonight?
Well, not at all. I went out there to dictate the pace, and I used my jab well, and I kind of had a feeling he thought I was going to get in there and draw and just come straight to him. But I knew if I moved, it was all set, his quickness.
I think was commendable, Evander, was the fact that everyone kept saying Evander's not a heavyweight. He's not a heavyweight. And how were you able to block that out?
Well, it was easy because, like I told them from the get-go, it's not the side of the man. It's his heart and determination. That's something that you can't see. And each and every time I went out to fight, I always proved that I had heart and determination.
Did you see something in Douglas that told you that this is my night? I mean, was he backing away, or whether or not was he aggressive to you?
But not at all. I went out there with a game plan. My game plan was to go out there and use what the Lord has given me, and that was my speed and my smarts. And I used my jab real well, and I went to his body, and I moved, and I had him offset, and actually he was like, was just a second behind.
I thought that was the key punch, your jab. You were out jab Douglas.
Well, I was able to get under his jab, and George had already told me get close enough where I can hit him with the jab, but be able to get under his jab. So when I was able to get under the jab, I was able to hit him with a jab because George said a guy that with a good jab is not used to getting hit with a jab.
Vander, we have an opportunity now to take a look at some of the still photos. I guess everything is kind of etched in your mind now. Of course, there was a big crowd here, a star-studded gathering, and really from the early going, you were taking it to Buster Douglas. And I guess you were somewhat surprised, at least we were, that he was not the aggressor in the early going. Everybody expected that.
Well, I felt that, you know, with his aggressiveness, I was going to move around, and he wasn't going to be able to hit me anyway. And so my whole game plan is to make him work hard each and every cycle he's in there. And I know that when a guy is not able to get a jab off, then he's not able to hit you with the right hand.
Was there any time in the fight at all where he did any damage to you at all?
Well, no, he didn't get any clean shots off. He was able to get a flick of the jab off at times, but I was able to hit him with a solid jab and hit him a jab into the body.
Explain for me what you saw when he missed the uppercut. That must have been a hanging curve right over the plate.
Well, actually, when he threw the uppercut, he dropped his shoulder for one thing, and I knew that he was getting ready to throw the uppercut because he thought I was coming in. I stepped in and I stepped back. When he threw the right uppercut, it was like over here. He had no defense, and I was stepping right in after his right hand went past his face, and that's when I hit him.
Well, Evander, you have a date, I guess, in early April with a fellow named George Foreman, who I'm guessing is itching to talk to you. See George over there in the monitor. And George, go ahead. I'll tell you what, let me get Evander back with his earpiece in there. We're going to fix that thing up. Of course, the earpiece falls out just at that moment. Go ahead. Go ahead, George.
The kids are singing right now, fat man, why you so fat? Well, I drank a bowl of water, I ate a bowl of soup, and now I'm going to eat Evander Holyfield too.
Evander, to which
Isn't
you
that
say.
wonderful? Let me say congratulations to Evander Holyfield first. Nobody can knock you now. You're a bona fide heavyweight champ of the world. You deserve it. And may you and your family enjoy this moment and dwell on it and remember it always. But come April, I'm going to take it all from you, my buddy.
Well, I understand that. It's good to have confidence, but I'll be out there doing the same thing I was doing tonight. I'll be out there at my best, and at my best, I'm hard to beat.
Both of you guys are kind of outsiders in that you are backed by Lou Duva and away from the quote-unquote boxing establishment. George, of course, is the ultimate free agent. What do you both think about now? You guys are about to fight your own way. First, George, let me ask you that.
I said to you earlier that Don King, if he's not careful, he's going to end up being the Saddam Hussein of boxing. And the whole world, like he said, only in America, they're going to surround him and make him quit. Now, he has been guaranteed his chance. Holyfield has had his chance. It's my chance. Nobody can stop me, only because the people in the United States and around the world said, we're behind you, George. That's the way it should be. Boxing is the granddaddy of all sports. Now the world is going to see me become heavyweight champ of the world. I'm going to do it because I'm going to train harder than Evander Holyfield. He's got $8 million. I don't have that money. I'm a poor man. You're a rich man now. I'm going to whip you, rich man.
Evander, what do you say to that, Evander?
Well, you know, what he's saying is that he thinks money is the key to motivation. But money never been the key to my motivation. Magnify the Lord's name, this is my key. And I'll be out there to prove that I'm going to take whatever the Lord gives me and work with it.
I can tell you this. I can never pull up to McDonald's without any money. I got to have money to go into Burger King. And so that is a motivation.
George, this is Al Bernstein. I want to know, you saw Evander Holyfield do something tonight that a lot of people thought he wasn't going to do, and that is box very effectively. Can he box against you?
No. When that bell rings, Evander Holyfield, I'm going to swallow him up like a boa constrictor does a mouse. And I'm not going to let him go once I get him. Like I said, this is his moment. I don't want to rain on his parade. He should enjoy this. He's got a beautiful family. This is the time to go get his wife and his children and hug and kiss and say, we made it. But after April, I'm going to take it all from you, boy. Speak up. Speak up right now.
Well, before he speaks up, George, I want to ask you, were you rooting for anybody in this fight? Who did you think would prevent? Did you think Douglas at his best would be different against you, or who did you want want to win?
Well, to be honest with you, Evander Holyfield, we had signed on a contract to fight before the fight started. But it didn't stop me from really loving Buster Douglas. Didn't stop my caring for Evander Holyfield. These are two great youngsters. Mike Tyson, of course, they're great youngsters. I was pulling for both. I wanted them both to go. No controversy, no double count, no timekeepers, no judges, just to have a clean knockout, and it happened like that. Douglas, he's had his history. Evander Holyfield has got his day in the sun now. Enjoy it, my friend. Enjoy it.
George, what I want to know, George, what makes you think you can beat me? You had your day, and don't you think your day is gone?
Man, I'm going to go to Baskin Robbins. I'm going to eat every flavor ice cream in the world. And then when you start pushing and shoving me, you're going to have to push and shove a whole franchise. There's no way you can get me. I weigh more than you. My foot weighs more than you.
It don't make it different. Like I told everybody, it's not the size of the man, it's the size of his heart and determination.
Yeah, but I eat them hearts like yours. I eat them. I eat chicken feast, man. I eat everything.
George, well, thanks a lot for joining us in Houston. I know you've got a date in April with this man, Evander Holyfield, for the heavyweight championship of the world. And Evander, has it sunk in yet?
Yes, it have. I prayed about it, and I felt that I would feel the same way when I won the title as I did the first one. You know, I'm very thankful. I'm very grateful, and I went out there and I gave it my all, and I was rewarded for doing it my all.
Let me just ask you one more question. As you daydreamed in the days leading up to the fight, how did you envision the fight ending? Did you have a picture in your mind how this fight was going to go, and was it anything like what happened tonight?
Well, actually, I always thought about that. I could get him out early if I hit a good shot, but George them wanted me to go out and box, and a lot of times I didn't have confidence in taking my time and being able to knock somebody out. I felt that if I get on a guy, I could knock him out. But this time it worked just like George asked me to go out and box and make him make a mistake and capitalize.
That is the heavyweight champion of the world, Evander Holyfield. 25-0, 21 knockouts, none bigger than the one tonight. We will continue our coverage live from the Mirage in Las Vegas in just a minute.
Count Evander Holyfield's accomplishment. And plus, I want to reiterate on Al. The fact of the matter is, Evander Holyfield fought some heavyweights. He's been able to take their shots, and he was on a mission. Evander, he was on a mission, and he proved that he wanted to win.